Okay, hi, so we're back with another part in this series of tutorials on the Modtsep sequencers. So, I'm going to just look at mapping, and, well, not mapping, just looking at some of the templates for some of the other hardware. I'm not going to go into massive detail on every single one. Obviously it's going to be dependent on what hardware you've got. If you want to know a little bit more about mapping it, I've done a couple of fairly in-depth videos on the TR8, sort of showing you how to map the sounds and so on that. So let's start with, we'll do the Volca Bass. So my Volca Bass is on MIDI channel 4, so I've just set my MIDI channel to 4 on there. And then in here, I'm going to go into the stock folder and I'm just going to find, oh, not too far, the Volca Bass template. Drag that in, oops, into there. Okay, so I've now got, that's now playing the Volca Bass. In terms of the CCs, the MIDI CC controls on the Volca Bass, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 12 that we can map on here. Unfortunately, and this is just a thing with the Volca Bass, apparently it can't receive CC messages, MIDI CC messages for the cutoff, so you can't do anything with that. That's just the way the unit's been built. As far as I know, there's no way around it. But you got cutoff and attack and so on. So if you want to kind of, you've got basically as many pads as you want on this side here. So if I want to just have specific ones, I'll just drag and drop those controls in there. If I want everything, I just press autofill and everything is in there. So I've got a really bad sequence, I just put some random notes in. So let's go on attack. Okay, so just using this XY pad, you can see that's affecting the attack time, decay, and so on. Okay, so quite useful if you want to sort of automate some things, because we can automate in here by going on to the mods and just drawing in however you want to do it, and then you've got nodes similar to any kind of, you can see that's now moving up and down following the automation on there. So yeah, a few useful probably aspects for that. You can automate the pitch of the different oscillators and so on there, so quite a useful one. And it basically works the same on all the hardware really. In terms of the Roland stuff, let's do the TB3. Let's just drag this in. This is quite useful. You can control the scatter. If I just move that out of the way a second. If you look at the scatter settings here, I'm just going to select that on the iPad. Let's just play this. So I've got to change my MIDI channel. So my TB3 is on channel 2. So I change that, it will play that. Just mute that. Okay. So if I choose scatter type and move my fingers on here, you can see it's changing on there. So in the same way, and the scatter depth. Okay, so you can get some pretty crazy effects going on that. And that's very similar to the scatter on the TR8, which if you watch the video, you'll see that you can change the scatter on there. And then you've got the envelope mod, and just one thing to bear in mind with the scatter on here, you do need to have the internal sequencer running. So I've just got a blank pattern on there at the moment for the scatter thing to work, okay? Because without that running, okay, it will change obviously the scatter stuff, but it doesn't have any effect on the sound, okay, unless it's running. And I think it's probably the same on the TR8, so it's really just a case of putting some blank patterns in there. But everything else works without having it running. So for example, the envelope mod, accent, and so on. One thing that would be nice on this, and I don't think you can do it, I'm still sort of learning my way around this app, finding new stuff out all the time, but it would be nice if you could kind of select 2 or 3 of these at the same time, so they would all, you know, you could control like 3 or 4 parameters with just one XY thing here. I was thinking if there's a way of, I don't know, could we put them on 2 lots? No, you can't, because that one, we could, yeah, it's not going to do it. No, I don't think you can. I'm just sort of thinking out loud there. Yeah, so that would be a nice thing for a future update, would be to be able to chain these together in the same way as you can. Yeah, I mean, you can do that obviously within Ableton Live and various other bits of software. So it'd be nice to be able to highlight, you know, like 1, 2, 3, 4 of those, and then that's going to move all those parameters at the same time if you want to get some really crazy sort of sounds going. And the other hardware stuff is pretty much the same, really. You've got the TB-03. So we've got envelope mod, we've got access to the delay stuff, slide status, accents levels, resonance and cutoff you can control on here. Basically all the dials along the top, your delay time and decay and so on. So that I think would be quite useful for automation. I've not got it hooked up to the Minilogue, but let's have a look what we've got on there. I'm guessing it's in the Chord section. Yeah, they've got the Minilogue and the Minilogue mapped actually. So you've got quite a lot of things on here, all your VCO pitches and volumes and resonance and cut-off and so on. So it's all the main things. And basically anything that can receive MIDI CC messages, you can add it in. So all you would do is you put one in here. Let's say we knew it was on MIDI CC number. Let's just go back just to see that. So you've got a little plus sign down here if you want to add your own. So let's say we're going to send something on MIDI CC number 78, and you put the name in, and we'll just call it, I don't know, hold, just whatever. And it's just like, oh god, there's loads down here. Look, yeah, you've got even more down here. And that should be, and it's there, look, see that's appeared on number 78, so you could then put that in and that will send whatever that is out to there. So it's really just getting hold of the MIDI implementation chart with all your CC numbers and you're good to go. Works with the system 1. My system 1 is on channel 16, I think. Let's just bring the keyboard up for this. Let's select a sound on the system 1. Okay, so that's playing the sounds from my system 1. So obviously we can, you know, we can sequence it from there. The system 1's not got anything mapped, so while we're talking about mapping, let's just map something. So what I need to do is I'm just going to try and find the MIDI implementation CC numbers. We'll find one that does something, and I'll be back with you in a second. Okay, so I've just downloaded from the Roland website the System 1 MIDI implementation chart. So we'll map the filter cutoff, which is, I've got to find it on here somewhere. Let's type, so we want the low pass cutoff. Right, bear with me a sec while I find it. Right, got it. Just going to try and get this into focus. I was looking down here. It's right up here. The low pass filter cutoff is MIDI CC number 3. So let's see if this works. It probably won't work now. I'm saying how easy it is. Right, so I'm going to start a new template. I'm going to call this. Right, let's just go back. So I've still got the Chord Minilogue loaded in. So I'm clicking on New, and we're going to call this System 1. Actually, I'm going to do it in there. So I'm going to do Save As System 1, and I'm going to save it in my CCs folder. Okay, just there. So there's System 1. So we're going to press the plus sign down here, and it was on CC number 3. So click Enter, and I'm going to call it LPF for the low pass filter cutoff. Right, drag that into there. We go over to our pads. I like that. And hey presto, blimey, it worked first time. Right, it's that easy to map these MIDI CC. Dead easy, love it. So you see I've now mapped. I can open and close the filter from my iPad. Genius. Right, so I was going to go back. I was going to make sure I've saved that actually, just to be sure it's in there. So that's then saved in there, and that'll be there when I come back next time. So that's how easy it is to map those. You can map your own chords. I think it comes with, you've got minor triads and major triads, so if you drag those in there. Okay, so that's going to play the chords for us. And you can see basically down here, if you want to put a new one in, you just put your notes in. So let's go onto that pad there, and we'll call it whatever. And I think you press capture. So there you go. We just go, I don't know, we press those three together. You can see it's now come up on there, and it says capturing. I've never tried this before. I'm just doing it for now. Okay. And then we've got a random chord in there, so you can map your own chords like that. Mapping the pads I've gone through in detail on the TR8 video, so check that one out to see how that works. And that's pretty much it, I think, on all the mapping. You can export the pad set. Obviously, I don't know why you'd want to export it. I suppose if you want to back it up, or send it, or export it and import it onto another iPad, I guess you would use it for that. Chords, CCs, yeah, pretty straightforward. You've got other stuff down there. Obviously you've got your range for your MIDI CCs, usually goes from 0 to 127, so it depends on how you'd want to do, depends on what you're mapping. You might not want to go for the full thing on that. So I think that pretty much covers sort of using the hardware. It's really down to what hardware you use, whether, you know, how you use it and what you map to it. It seems to work very, very intuitively with basically anything. And like I say, it's just the speed of sort of coming into my studio and setting up and having all this control from this is so much quicker than having to bring your PC in. I mean, I've got a laptop that I usually work on inside. I've got to bring that in, I've got to plug it in, got to connect all the USB cables in, got to wait for it to start up, got to wait for Ableton to load, and so on. So from a speed point of view, like I've said before, for performing live, I think this is going to be really good. What I'm going to do in the next few videos is I'll go through some of the internal instruments and how you can use inter-app audio stuff on here. If you've got synth apps and so on, I've got a few issues with that, which I'll go through in that video. I think I pretty much covered the step sequencer and the piano roll in the video on the TR8. So if you want to know a bit more about that, watch those. Because I pretty much, I think, covered all of that now. And then I'm really just going to build a live set on here and try and do some kind of like a set and see how much I can get on before it sort of maxes out the iPad, because I'm hoping I can get quite a few different songs on here. And then obviously the load time is pretty quick for each thing. If I'm just going to load in, you know, a new project, I just press that, load, and it's kind of there instantly. I mean, this is the demo thing that comes with it, which has got quite a lot on it. But, you know, if you're thinking about, let's load that. If you're thinking about load time for getting like Ableton Live to load in a new, particularly a big set, that can be quite long. So I think from a live point of view, this is going to be pretty cool. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, the usual stuff. Got any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.